Hello, and thank you for giving your time today. I'd like to welcome you to learn about how we could implement personalized learning in our classrooms. You may be wondering, what is personalized learning? Simply put, personalized learning is the integration of teacher-directed instruction with technology-supported instruction and student collaboration, all wrapped around student interest. Is this the newest trend in education? Well, no, and yes. Personalized learning dates back to the late 19th century when the focus was on students pacing their learning for their mastery. This idea continues through the 20th century and into the 21st century, where technology is an added component with all of the adaptive learning programs available. Through the years, we can see there has been a distinct focus on students leading their own learning. It's important to remember that personalized learning puts the student's needs at the forefront. Personalized learning tailors educational programs that build off of the student's interests, goals, and learning preferences. This is what makes learning personal. Learners are active participants in their own learning. Learners make decisions about what and how they will learn. Learners construct new knowledge and skills by building on current knowledge and skills. Learners understand expectations and are encouraged to use self-assessment measures. Learners monitor their own learning to develop strategies for learning. And yes, of course, we have to address the how can we accomplish this concerns. The largest consideration we will have centers around time. Where will we find the time for professional development and planning? We also have to consider what resources are available, what the role of the teacher will be, and what is an appropriate amount of screen time to be included. I'm sure as we begin planning, we will find more considerations that we will need to address. The biggest conversations about our concerns, considerations, and planning can be led by our research of the PI system and the implementation in Ohio and at the Quest Academy. These are hyperlinked if you'd like to read more on your own. So what could this look like for us? A strategy that has worked for me has been to try one thing, reflect, adjust, and build. The long-term plan would be a 4-year implementation. We would begin with our STEM Scope science program, as most children are intrinsically motivated to learn science content. We would then move to social studies and then reading. And here's what it could look like in year 1. The teacher would lead students through the plant and animal unit. Here's an example of the types of learning activities the teachers and students would be using. This serves several purposes. Students are learning content while also learning how to maneuver through the tasks and programs. Students would then choose the first unit they'd like to learn. Here is an example of how students would make their selection. Included in their selection would also be some writing prompts that they would need to complete. Students would then be moved into learning groups and complete an individual pre-assessment. Students would complete tasks for learning at their own pace. Here's an example of the types of learning activities the students would be completing in their own order at their own pace. The teacher would rotate through groups to provide support. Students would complete a post-assessment to ensure learning was accomplished, and the process would start over. But let's take a look at a few of the benefits of personalized learning. Teachers can focus on soft human skills like critical thinking, big picture strategy, communication, emotional intelligence, leadership, and teamwork. Benefits include increased engagement, improved retention, flexible pacing, and data-driven insights. Personalized learning creates the skills for lifelong learning. And now that you've had an overview, let's take a few minutes to reflect. Please use the sheet provided to answer the following questions. What did you learn? What did you love? What would you like to learn more about, and what makes you leery? You also have space to include any questions you may have. I've included a list of references if you'd like to learn more about personalized learning. Thank you for your time and consideration.